School of the Future, the school. How can we, as 21st century learners, redesign Cooper so that the building empowers student learning and maintains relevance for the next 50 years? One important aspect of keeping our school relevant for the next 50 years would be our school design. We would completely demolish the old school, including the mods, to make sure that the school design can benefit the students and teachers. This old school design made it very hard to get to lockers, then to classes, because it was a very long and rectangular shape. Our new school design is very friendly and has a design that makes it so you can have room for your stuff in your locker, but if you want a locker, you still are allowed to get one. Also, it has large open spaces to make sure that you never feel too cramped in hallways. Schools throughout time. School of the past. Schools in America were originally designed to teach kids to read and write, and not much else. These were the schools in the early 1700s, right here, as you see. However, the rows and desks that come to mind when you think of a school became more widespread during the major time of immigration, where children were being prepared to work in factories, on assembly lines, where they had to do one job repeatedly and very well. The schools were uniform. The uniforms were schools and precise, and overall quite boring. The teachers stood in the front of the room, and students wrote down notes and memorized passages. There were also teachers who yelled at students who didn't do things the correct way and hit hands with rulers. This prepared students for foremen who yelled and hit workers who did not do their job anywhere correctly. School of the Future. Schools in the future will be designed so they can encourage and embrace the new era of technology and change. Also, all schools will be designed so they can teach the needs of the main jobs, because some jobs that will be common don't even exist today. The main goal of the school of the future is to be able to teach the generation in front of us to be self-sufficient, forward-thinking, and to work well with each other. Classroom design. Main subjects. For the main subjects, each classroom has to benefit the teacher. For different classes, there are different teaching styles and information. The classroom design should best benefit and not be a cookie-cutter version of a classroom. For math, we figured out through surveying teachers that they liked the group seating. They liked seating arrangements being more flexible than they are now, so that no one was facing away from the board. They would like much larger whiteboards on two sides of the room, a printer and paper table in the back, wall space for posters and other wall-hanging decoration, and putting a bluish-white light in all classrooms that mimics natural light and improves test scores. In history, our teachers requested much more flexible seating and lots of space for their classrooms. So we made it so you can have students on the floor, sitting by themselves, or in large groups. In English, the teachers also requested more flexible seating and comfort. So we added more reading area and much more flexible seating arrangements. And finally, for science, we kept the normal classrooms quite similar, but we kept and we added a special area just for lab work, so students don't have to deal with spilling chemicals on personal belongings. And all of our classrooms and hallways would be made up of these calming pastel colors that help to improve learning. Okay. We are doing environmental. Why are we doing this? We are doing this because we need to protect the environment around Cooper for many reasons, including our water quality in the local watershed, Dead Run. Dead Run water quality is actually quite awful. Nothing but the hardiest organisms can live in. It is our mission to make the environment better as contributing citizens in Fairfax County. Our first big way of improving our environment is the tree box filter. What's that? It is a BMP that is used to avoid mold washing out in a runoff into our watershed. It will help the aquatic ecosystem stay healthy, remove fertilizers and mulch from local waterways, lower the pH levels. Another one of our BMPs is the rain garden. This is sort of a small buffer zone. It will not have walls surrounding it to maximize the amount of water it can filter. The garden will be in a sunny spot, so we are going to use plants that are colorful and grow well in the sun, such as switchgrass, also known as Panicum virgatum, roofstem goldenrod, Saladagu ragusa, and purple bergamot, Monarda media. The rain garden will provide a quiet place to work and help filter polluted gutter overflow, as well as having beautiful yellow flowers. Goldenrod is known to attract butterflies. There might be some in the garden in the spring months. Other BMPs that we might use include permeable pavement, rooftop gardens, and specially filtered storm drains. Our current energy sources are mostly natural gas and fossil fuels, but if we wanted to have a really green school, we would switch over to solar power and hydropower, but still some natural gas. Going back to our guiding question was, how can we as 21st century learners redesign Cooper so that the building empowers student learning and maintains relevance for the next 50 years? These environmental ideas would help our school stay healthy and advanced for years to come. Budget. We split our budget into main groups to try to find the best way to use our money. Most of our money was used in the overall design of our school and tearing it completely down. Then we used a lot of money on making sure that each student would have a very good computer. And then we used the rest of our budget to replace the rest of our supplies. And finally, the conclusion. Finally, our new school will give the students the opportunity to prepare themselves for their future. In the old days, teachers would teach the students for the jobs they needed by teaching them to sit still and barely literate, because it would prepare them for the factory jobs. Our new and improved curriculum helps the students prepare for the new 21st century jobs that will come in the future through collaboration, in-depth thinking, and creative thinking. Thank you for listening.